The recent showdown between Chris Eubank and Conor Benn has just wrapped up, and the boxing community is buzzing with strong reactions to what went down between the two fighters.
Unbelievable. I mean, look, obviously beating Queensbury 2-0 was nice, but that was just on another level. I mean, absolute masterclass schooling. You know, Eubank didn't win a round, very lucky not to get stopped in the last. But listen, respect to him, he's a very brave man. But it was a great performance from Conor Benn. Totally different fight to the first fight, but it needed to be, just had to keep his emotions in check. And I knew he could make it easy like that because he's much better. But giving up the weight gives you a little bit of a disadvantage, but tonight he just showed his quality. Eubank, as I said, coming into this fight, I think it'll be his last fight. That last fight that Conor Benn gave him would have taken a huge amount out of him, and he just got beat by the younger, better, fresher man tonight.
Did you expect that type of performance from Conor Benn? Because you were quite confident all week.
Because, I mean, he was still explosive. I mean, don't forget, he won every round, and in the 12th, he's still trying to stop him. When I'm just going, just circle. I'm like, I can't, just chill, and he's like still going for the finish. But that's what Conor Benn's about, and tonight he had to do something that he's never really done before, which is just stay calm and don't be reckless. Just be precise, work the body, land clean, jab, move your head on the way in, just the basic stuff. And he did it beautifully well, and that was absolutely, as they say in the trade, sweet as a nut.
Is that the end of that chapter with Eubank? Obviously,
yeah,
it's
of course,
closed.
he's that. I mean, like, you can't have a rematch when you've just won 13-0.
You know what? It's just one of those things. I knew Conor would win. I actually thought Conor would have stopped him, and it's only when Conor caught him in the 12th round. He was slipping a lot of the punches, and Conor never really caught him flush until the 12th round.
Very unfortunate not to get the stoppage. Yeah. I suppose if it had gone on another 20 seconds, then he would have, or 15 seconds.
Yeah, but we'll take the win. Even in score, we don't want a third match. Don't need to. Glad this saga's over with. Glad it's all over with.
What do you do with Conor now? Who do you look at? Like Lewis Crocker?
Yeah, look, all the champions at 47. Lewis Crocker, of course, he really wants that WBC title. Marios Barrios, you've got Rolly Romero, you've got the winner of Haney against Norman. Conor Benn's just filled an arena, 70,000 twice. He's a massive star of British boxing, so nice rest over Christmas. And I said in the ring as well, I think it's important to say, I noticed tonight that Movember is one of the sponsors for the show. Movember is all about kind of raising mental health awareness for men, and particularly suicide rates. If you had any idea the shit that Conor Benn was in his life, fighting this case, right, to the point where he was having to sell everything he had. He was in hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of debt because he wouldn't give up trying to win this case and prove himself. And when I say mentally shot, he was a completely broken man. And maybe he might tell you one day how low he really was, but trust me when I say he was banging trouble. There was no way out, and that is a great lesson to people out there. When you think there's no way out, stay with it, keep the faith, and that's what Conor Benn did. He worked as hard as he could every day, and look at him now. Like I say, just a year and a half ago, finished, rock bottom, no way out. He's just fought Chris Eubank twice, secured his and his kids' legacies and financial legacy forever, and he's just become one of the biggest stars in British boxing, and good on him, because I tell you what, he's a good bloke with a good heart.
Really happy, and thank God it's over. Listen, like I said in the press conference Thursday, Conor had to make adjustments when he fought Chris in the return, and I feel like he made the adjustments. He stuck to the game plan. His feet was good tonight. His boxing ability was good tonight. And it's fortunate for Chris that bell win in the last round, because it was virtually over then. But he won so clearly, and he boxed smart. Didn't lose his head and swing punches all over the place, and I'm really proud of him.
So it's a completely different fight, obviously, from the first fight. Is that what Conor Benn had to do just to make sure, and it was a comfortable victory in the end, but to fight that way, to make sure, regardless of whether it was as exciting as the first one, just get the job done?
Yeah, of course, and we had the game plan, and he stuck to the game plan, and he won convincingly, and that's all it's about, is getting a win at the end of the day. I mean, the icing was nearly on the cake in the last round, but listen, I'm proud of him. He boxed smart with a cool head, and he won the fight convincingly.
It didn't surprise you how comfortable it was in the end for Conor?
No, it didn't surprise me at all. I thought Conor actually had him betting between round 1 to 3 and 3 to 6. I thought if Conor caught him early, because he never caught him until late, and when he hurt him, you can see that he hurt him. And Conor was still fresh at 12 rounds.
But this is where the whole Eubank and Benn saga ends tonight.
Yeah, it ends tonight. I'll be honest with you, he tried to shake my hand, but I pushed him away. I said no.
Who did?
I did. I pushed him away.
Junior?
No, senior.
Senior.
Yeah, he always plays this game and all that, attention seeker, and I just got sick and tired of it. Because I went to embrace him at the weigh-in, and he done that to me. And I thought, mate, I felt like throttling him. I thought to myself, mate, I'm not even going to bother talking to you no more, mate. It was so disrespectful, and I was like, saying, you know what, give me a cuddle, and that's it. But carry on. I won't talk to him again, mate. He's a waste of space. I'm sorry to say, mate. It's just hard work. He's always like this attention seeking and everything about him, just like, rubs people up the wrong way.
Everything. The way Chris boxed there just showed you how hard making the weight was for him last time. The older he is, the way I can get you down to 2 stone. You might not be able to tie your shoelaces, but I can get you down. So even though he got down to it, you saw the effects of there. It looked like a man walking in slow motion, in quicksand. Conor was all over him. Well deserved to the end. Chris had nothing to give. And that, you remember the last fight, Chris had nothing left to give. Conor did. The way Conor boxed, he did. He never left him alone. Ripped his heart out. He did the right thing.
What was the difference? Was Conor Benn better today, or was Chris Eubank Jr deteriorated? What was the difference?
Both. They're both going, it's like a pendulum. Conor knew what he could do, didn't think, I'm not sure what I can get away with from the last fight. For Chris, the pendulum is, which rinses himself down that much, he's thinking he can do it again. As I said, anybody can get down to the weight, it's what you can do at the weight. Boxing is the worst place to be if you aren't going to put yourself at a disadvantage, because it's the only place you can legally get killed. And so what Chris did was, Chris depleted any advantage he had in the first fight. And again, in this fight here, what did he expect? Conor just had to put him under pressure, keep up the pace. He took the pace, made him work constantly. And when you make him work constantly, that's how he started.
Unfortunately, for me, the fight didn't live up to the expectations. I'm extremely underwhelmed. How they've pulled that off. Very, very, very poor fight. Disappointing. It came alive in the last round. That's it. The last round it happened, and Conor Benn got the win. Rightly so. But Eubanks tonight didn't turn up. Old overnight. His legs weren't in it. Came in a pound light at the weigh-in, which probably has something to do with it. But Father Time caught up with him, and they've pulled off a heist tonight. That's what they've done. They've made an absolute fortune out of a nothing fight. It was not a patch on the first one. Obviously that first fight took everything out of them both. Conor Benn came in a bit more cautious, did the right thing, just picked through with his jab. Nobody expected him to do it. I didn't expect him to do it. And Eubanks had really nothing to offer. The shots that came in, the first shot that put Eubank down actually skimmed past Eubank's ear and caught him on, just past the temple. The second shot was the back of the head. They weren't clean shots, but it just shows how fragile he was, that he was going down from shots like that, because the right hand, what hit him in the first knockdown, went past his ear. It did connect, but it wasn't a blow coming into the side. It skimmed past him and it toppled him over. So what does that actually say?
Conor's next step will be dropping down to 147 and trying to claim the world title, and obviously he wants to emulate Nigel of being a world champion, so his next fight will be down at his natural weight.
But just last one, under massive pressure, Conor, obviously off the back of that loss, to come here and deliver, which he did.
Yeah, exactly, and he worked hard, he worked really hard in the gym, and he badly wanted to win this fight, and of course he was under pressure to it. He wanted to have a win over the Eubanks for his dad as well, so but listen, it's onwards and upwards now, and get back down to 147 and go and win that world title.
Why was he not able to let his hands go? The last fight was only 6 months ago.
Yeah, but he's, like I said, time's caught up. Was he 32? Is he? And Benn's 28. Yeah, he's a bit like time catches up. That's what happens. He just couldn't fire, could he? Couldn't fire. And like I said, the first fight, he had to dig deep. it meant something in the first fight. They didn't know they were going to have a rematch. And Eubanks had to win. Maybe he's got into this fight. I think, well, if he beats me, it's 1-1, whatever. But he just didn't have that fire in his belly tonight. You know, maybe he's just lost the taste for it. But for me, you know, I don't come to many live events. It was a very underwhelming fight till the last round, and even then the finish wasn't fantastic. I'm pleased for Tony Sims that he's got the win. They've had to think about what they've done. They've played it smart. They didn't go rushing in and allow Conor Benn to be there to get it by Eubank. But to be honest, Eubank wasn't accurate tonight at all. Very, very inaccurate in what he...
Teddy Atlas was among the first to give his final prediction, picking Conor Benn to come out on top in the rematch, explaining that as long as Benn avoids the errors he made in their first meeting, his speed, sharpness, and drive could be enough to overcome you. According to Atlas, the outcome will depend heavily on Benn's ability to stay focused, disciplined, and strategic, and fans are eager to see whether he can make the necessary adjustments to finally claim victory in this high-stakes showdown.
Has more to prove this time. Benn has more psychologically on his side than Eubank does this time. I think that's going to be a difference. You want to get my real breakdown? I mean, the props and everything else, go to the ropes, like my son tells you. But I'm not gonna make a secret. Eubank's the favorite. I like Benn.
In another breakdown, Teddy Atlas shared a similar prediction but added a warning, saying he still favored Conor Benn to win, yet stressed that Benn must avoid being predictable like he was in their first encounter. Atlas pointed out that Eubank's timing and ability to adjust could become a major threat if Benn falls back into old patterns, urging him to stay sharp, switch up his pace, and catch Eubank off guard with more variety, noting that this fight will challenge Benn's ability to think clearly under pressure, quality he believes separates true champions from the rest.
Preview of this fight is the same as it would have been for the fathers. How unusual is that? So you got Benn, the smaller man, and then there's a hydration clause. He was a welterweight that he fought a few fights at junior middleweight, but Eubank's been a middleweight and super middleweight most of his career. So he is the guy who's bigger. I see the fight as Benn having to get close without taking damage. So it's going to be up to him and his trainers that they came up with the right plan in the gym. Feints, draw the punches, the counters out of Eubank before you walk into them. You know, knock on the front door, come in the side door, but not be what Eubank wants you to be. Predictable, coming in the front door where he can counter the crap out of you and catch you with the biggest shots. For me, that's the preview.